Welcome, people of the Earth. My name is Planet Mitch, and I am from a website called planet5d.com, where we talk nothing but planets. No, that's not true. We talk about all kinds of things about DSLRs, photography, and filmmaking, but today I'm going to go way out of orbit. Today I'm going to talk about this. What does that look like? It looks like an iPad. It is an iPad, but it also has, a keyboard. How does an iPad have a keyboard? Well, this right here is called the Brydge. And that's not B-R-I-D-G-E, it's B-R-Y-D-G-E. Why on God's green earth would you want a keyboard with your iPad? Why didn't they make the iPad with a keyboard in the first place? Well, if you've used that on-screen keypad any length of time, you know that it's very difficult to use, especially if you're a touch typist. Having an extra keyboard is very advantageous for the iPad. I actually have a separate keyboard that I bought to use with my iPad, but you know what? If you're ever sitting in a chair, you've got nothing to mount your iPad up against unless you kind of lean it on, you're balancing it on your knees and you got this extra keyboard, and it's kind of just a royal pain. The simplicity of having these two things together turns this into a little laptop. And I can tell you right now that I have probably sold 15 or 20 of these things, because every time I take this thing out in public, people say, "Hey, what's that? How does your iPad have a keyboard? I want one of those." And they all go and they write it down and they say, "How do you spell that?" And I say B-R-Y-D-G-E. It's the Brydge keyboard for your iPad. Now, it actually comes in 3 flavors right now. This particular one is the full-fledged model that has not only the keyboard but speakers. This one comes in aluminum that matches the silver of the iPad. Now, I happen to have an iPad 2, but it comes for the new models, the iPad 2, the iPad 3, and the iPad 4. And this particular model is $199. It has the nice aluminum feel, just like the iPad does. It has speakers on it, and you can get the same model without the speakers for $169. And they also have a new version, which is made of polycarbonate, which isn't quite as, firm and meaty as this one. But my daughter actually is using that one, and I believe it's $99. It has the magnetic wake and sleep, just like the cover for the iPad, if you've bought one of those. It connects to your iPad via Bluetooth. And the initial setup was a little bit hard. I had a hard time getting it to pair with my iPad, but once I got through that process, it was very easy to use. It does have an on and off switch over on the side, and it does charge via a micro USB cord. Third thing that I really like about this keyboard is the fact that when your iPad goes to sleep, you don't have to do the swipe motion in order to get it to wake up. All you got to do is touch a key on the keyboard. Of course, if you open it, it's going to wake up. But touching a key on the keyboard does the same thing as the swipe, so that makes it one step shorter to getting busy. It does firmly attach to your iPad, so it's not going to come loose. You can see that it doesn't just simply come apart. You do have to use some force to get them apart. So you can take the keyboard off if you want to just use the iPad regularly. Easy enough for me to say. There are a couple of little tricks that I learned, by the way, while using this. Number one, when you have it set up, make sure that the iPad power button is on the right-hand side. If you have the iPad power button on the left-hand side and you close it, the magnetic wake and sleep does not happen. It's designed to be that the button's on the right-hand side. And it's a wonderful, wonderful device. The review that I've written for this, by the way, I wrote completely on the iPad with this keyboard. I was sitting in a dentist's office waiting for my daughter to get her braces put on. One of the other things that's a real pain in the tuchus when you use this thing is that when you go back and use your MacBook Pro or your other laptop, you're going to be sitting there and you're going to go and you're going to try to touch your MacBook Pro because you get so used to using the keyboard, and when you want to do something, you touch the screen and something happens on the iPad. You go back to your laptop and you think, why can't I touch and make those things happen? The other thing in reverse that's a negative is that this doesn't have a trackpad area like your MacBook does. So sometimes when you want to use the cursor and you're used to using your MacBook and you go, well, where's my cursor? You realize you have to touch the actual iPad in order to make something happen there. So you kind of get this little bit of, what device am I using kind of problem. It's all in your head. It's okay. In a nutshell, this is one of the best devices you can possibly get if you use your iPad a lot. I travel a lot with my iPad. I take my MacBook Pro, but let me tell you, this works much better sitting in an airplane seat than that MacBook Pro does. It's small, it's light, it's very convenient. It's the perfect device. By Planet5D.com. Come visit us anytime you want to learn about DSLRs, photography, video, and all kinds of stuff like that. Thanks for watching.